Let me welcome Marina Khomenko, Account Executive DACH&CE at Creatio. Marina has a rich background in the banking sector, and she is now dedicated to change the business workflows of her financial services customers with Creatio's no-code platform. Hi, Marina, and welcome. So, let's talk about no-code and code and digital strategy. It is open.
Yeah, I think it's working.
Yes,
right now. Yeah.
Great. So, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Alex. Thank you for having me here. I guess we will probably start with telling a little bit, to the wider audience what no-code is, right? So basically, no-code is an approach of development and customizing the applications without using the code, yeah? So technically without coding, without the conventional method of the development of the software. And so I guess this is going to be the framework where we're going to be holding our discussion today, like why no-code is getting more and more popular as of today, and why specifically we see its future for the banks, yeah, for the banks and financial services industry as a whole, I guess.
So let's start from what we have now, and then we go to no-code.
So then, okay, let's then start with the background, why and how it developed. Yeah, so the challenges which the bankers are facing as of today, yeah, in terms of development of the applications. So first of all, we have, everything which happened today, we kind of discussed that, and we can summarize that as of today, we have very sophisticated customer. Yeah, our customers, your end customers, banks customers, they're getting more and more sophisticated. They demand more attention. They demand more, tailored attention towards them, and therefore you need to adapt within your technology in order to meet their customer needs. Then, if we're talking about the banking sector employees, they're also, they also want and try to get more sophisticated because we use way too many applications as of today daily. Yeah, you're switching between 15 of them during the day, and you can compare that this one is good and this one is bad. That's second one, yeah. Third challenge for the banks, I would say, they usually have a huge backlog of something which was, inherited from years to come in terms of technology, which has to be maintained. And in case you want to enhance it and develop it somehow, you have to fight for the right to be, the function which you want to be implemented is going to be developed right now instead of something which business wants, instead of something which regulator wants us to develop, so on and so forth. Which leads us to the next one, regulator. We are highly I'm an ex-banker, therefore I still calling myself we, yeah? I think this is, you do it once, that's forever. There's no such thing as ex-bankers. So regulators, they constantly tell you, they come all at once and they say, look, we need to change this. New product is allowed on the market. Or there's a new restriction. Now it's not 4 eyes principle, but 16 eyes control principles, whatever. This task usually has a deadline, right? Which means that whatever you were planning to develop within the bank in order to satisfy your customer or to satisfy your employee, you put it to the backlog, and you have to develop what the regulator needs as of today, because this is important. Next one would be, I'd say, lack of IT resources as of today, worldwide. This is funny, we're discussing this in Romania because Romania is the huge exporter of IT services worldwide. You have the knowledge, you have the people, and still what we hear from our customers in the country that IT resources, this is something to fight for. And the last one, and I think my favorite one, is basically that banks are very heavy processes driven industry. So the processes you have inside your organization are huge. Anything. Account opening is like 127 little steps and no one knows which one takes place after another. I don't know, lending, approval of a loan is, multiple steps, which involves risks, manager, legal, compliance, like, customer. The process is heavy. Then even, I don't know, employee onboarding, it's also more difficult than in any other industry because you have to do some checks, security checks, then they have to pass all the like compliance educations that they know everything about sanctions, embargoes, and they have to do it regularly. And this is a process which can be automated, and this is more heavy. So given all of that, banks don't have time to develop something which is important for them, either for customers or for the employees inside, inside the banks. And this is why we realized that, no code is something which we probably, they are already looking forward to it. We have more and more of our customers coming from this particular industry because this is something which helps you develop faster, and your tasks which you want to impose to your IT departments, now they're getting more prioritized and you have chances to get it done.
So would banks would be open to no code? Tell me if there is interest. And let's tell them, you've mentioned a lot of for this, the benefits. Let's emphasize on that. And what are the benefits of no code for the employees of the banks? Because you've mentioned the employees.
Okay. So I'll split that, I guess, in two parts, right? So the first one was whether there is interest. There is. For your understanding, Creatio, we started, so we're basically a no-code platform, which also has certain already ready-made products on it. So we have CRM modules. Now we also, I emphasize, we also have products specifically designed for the banks. So we have CRM, which looks better for you because you have different terminology, you have different processes, it has to be fine-tuned a little bit. We did that. We also have some products on lending. But why we did it and why it happened now, At the very beginning, we were industry-agnostic product company, so we were selling to everyone. And then, eventually, as we started to talk to the banks, and specifically, I think because the processes are so lengthy and so difficult, and they involve so many counterparties, they realized that maybe this is the key, kind of the key to agile, actually, to be fast and, to do it. And I think we ended up, I'm afraid to lie right now, but I think that around 30% of our total portfolio overall, like worldwide, of what we have with the customer is actually financial services. Banks, and I would say credit unions are the most, to the lesser extent, insurance company, but and the demand is there. And what we realized that it's even difficult to say what you guys are buying more, something ready-made or just the platform, and you want to pull up the sleeve and start developing on your own, involving us as the vendor, involving our certified partners, like we have, but the demand is there. Exactly and this is the second part of your question, what are the benefits? And now the benefits, for the developers, we kind of understand. For the IT crowd, we also understand because we kind of free their time, The program writes the code instead of them, so you need lesser of them. But what is in there for employees? As you can imagine, this type of products where you don't need this much of, background knowledge on the IT, you kind of can democratize the development. So you kind of invite the knowledgeable people who just know the processes. So business people, like, many of us who are present here, to take part in the development of the application they will be using in future. We call it fusion teams. There's a whole approach of how you develop with the no coding in order to make it better and easier for the folks to do it instead of the good old approaches. So you kind of can prototype of what you want, like you can tell the person who knows how to use the Creatio, because this is basically the interface which helps you drag and drop the pictograms and build a process. For example, I'm a relationship manager who says, I want this process, the application process on my side to look like this, 1, 1, 1, 1. 1, 2, 3, 4 steps. The person builds you this here in 15 minutes and you take a look and like, no, maybe this is not exactly what I wanted. What if we switch it like this? and you can do it on the fly. So hearing the voice of the employee, of any employee, whoever is going to be using as the end customer, because our end customer is you, not the end customer of the bank. It's basically what we're doing is for you. So it's easier because it doesn't need to be put, again, in the backlog, reprioritized. It's fast.
Okay, so let's give the audience some examples. I want to understand how no-code can help banks be more agile, more flexible, and more rapidly in this fast-changing world.
I mean, there are different cases also. They're used for different products. But for example, we had a case, I will not make, I mean, this is the bank. This one was not coming particularly from this country. In a pre-COVID era, they realized that as soon as the lockdown is going to be happening, and they opted for the platform, but they eventually opted for a different product which they had in mind. They had built the mortgage, specifically the mortgage products, so they built the lending process within the company in order to enable it, to be done remotely. And so the whole process was built, inside of the bank. It took, weeks. So at least like the first prototype was there less than 2 months took actually in order to have it, up and running. That's fast. Let's not forget that it was the, COVID times. It struck, it happened, they had to build it. And also what happened next, and they probably didn't assess it when they were doing the ROI exercise, they gained a part of the market share because of that. So actually this helped them. This is one of the examples, but there are many. Some of them are not that visible, but yeah.
How would the no-code solutions would mix with the legacy systems of the banks?
Pretty much, pretty much all of these platforms, they have multiple tools in order to integrate with whatever you guys have. Because with banks, it's always about integrations. Primarily, the god of all things is the core banking system. You're lucky if you have one, If you have 2, 3, we have seen different cases. So, with all the open APIs, with all other different mechanisms in order to integrate, this is what we are focusing on. And the primary idea, if you're building the application, and if we're selling something to you as the ready-made, we're trying to create a tool which would be like, the only window for an employee to use. So you do not have to use all these multiple applications in order to be able to finalize your process, to take a look at the customer, So, of course, if we're doing, for example, we're doing 360 customer view. In order to have all the information on your customer, starting from previous interactions, his previous operations, what is the status of his current KYC, everything. What are the cases? He called you and complained that my card was eaten by your ATM, do something. So everything. In order to compile all this data on your customer, you have to, look at multiple systems. And these platforms help you easier to, to source the information from pretty much whenever and give you, like one single source of truth, and to take, the whole diagnosis of your patient in order to be able to do the right decision. So that's pretty easy. I'd say this is the lengthiest part of everything. But if you did everything, if you connected all the dots, then when you will be changing your processes and experimenting with them, the rest is happening, on the background normally.
Because the technologies and the new technologies were like a mantra today. We've all heard about it in all the presentations. What about the new technologies like AI or things like that? So how?
This is also the embedded part of the product. So already within the platform, and it's often the case where you have embedded AI ML technology within it, because again, the demand is increasing, and since we're able to kind of, extract the data from pretty much every system that you have, it's always the question, about how much data, how much historical data you have in order to, to teach the model, because we already talked about this today earlier. I don't remember in which panel that was. So you basically just have to teach it, and you have to provide it with the proper algorithms. And this is where actually, this is the homework of the bank, because in order to, somebody has to analyze which data we need to analyze in order to have the next best offer, because we have the next best offer as the part of our offering, as the part of our product. But you would have to, in each bank, it will be, the dependencies will be different. So for example, you assess, like, I don't know, if I have paid, like, let's imagine I have a mortgage with the bank, and the next months will be my last payment for the mortgage. Theoretically, it means, and we need to teach the model to analyze it. Theoretically, it means that I will, starting from tomorrow, I will have extra money to do something with them. So maybe my next best offer would be, I don't know, a deposit, no? But you got to be creative, and this is not which is coming to you from the software providers. This is something which comes from us, So, I mean, again, this is also my pain, because I'm coming from the bank and I'm coming to the software company, and I see that we don't speak the same language, So this is something where we also have to exchange the knowledge. The tools are there. AI, ML, they're available in multiple platforms, not only in Creatio. In our case, they're good. But yeah, they are available. But it's also, it has to come from you, because nobody knows better, the behavioristical inclinations of the customer than you do. We need business from the banks to tell us how.
Mm-hmm. So what are the challenges that banks face with no code?
Okay. Freedom is the challenge as well, right? Because
How come freedom? Because
I mean, but I told you that this platform is basically empowers. It's a Lego, You can build pretty much everything you want. And let's be honest, I mean, you somehow have to have the vision of what you want to have in the end, more or less. You can start playing with this. You can also, what no code enables you can have quick wins. You can see eventually what it's going to look like in the end, but then you want to start fine tuning. Oh, change this, change that, and there's no end to perfection. So somehow it's very important that within the banks, the tribes, the agile teams, they have the power of decision making within this team, how the end product will look like, but not everything, again, because then you will have no end to, I mean, if you have something in your view, a vision of how the end tool is supposed to look, you have to guide them. But also, I mean, renaming the whole idea, like I want to develop right now with no code, so we're refused completely from the waterfall approach. I mean, agile is our new mantra for the last, 5 years. But just naming our teams that way and not adopting it, it's also, I mean, not the way out. So you kind of have to balance between these two to give the freedom of the business people to actually, create their own software. We know in the banks it's not that easy, because you always have to go through the 7 rounds of hell of approvals in order to change the color of the button. Let's be honest. So I think that this is the challenge, because you're having a great tool to develop fast, but use it, So, and the main challenge is also changing the mindset of maybe the management, that how you're going to be using this key in your hands.
I will remind the gentleman in the back that we're still in session. Okay.
Something interesting over there.
So, I have a question, and it's involving your background, because we have still 2 minutes. So you have banking expertise. But now we are talking in all these conferences and all these sessions about technology, about digital transformation. So the banking is transforming. So we still have credits and cards and money. But we are talking, we added this layer of technology. How does the mindset changed in these years from thinking just in the financial framework to a financial plus digital technology and regulations, and in the same time having the customer in the middle of everything, because I think it's
Yeah, I mean, this is existential question. Yeah, I should say this is very difficult because, yes, the general perception is that banks, what they're doing in terms of technology, they're the last one to jump on the wagon. I mean, imagine in the world of Amazon, Netflix, where all the technology, I mean, everything was, it's been years that everything had been done by the end customer using the phone. I don't know, in real estate, they don't even have to go to check the apartment, you just have the 360 view. And it existed like for 20 years by now. The banks are the last one. First of all, because bank is a huge responsibility, yeah? So we're always risk averted. Banks are huge responsibility, and this is why it's not that easy. We want to...
well, yeah. Sorry for that, but just a reminder.
So we want to adapt the technology. We banks, yeah. So we want to adapt the technology. We are trying. We see a lot of initiatives which are helping, but we have to start small. I mean, I think pretty much every bank here had something like product and process simplification initiative. It's not even IT driven, but we have to start there in order to put the technology then on top on the clean thing which we have. So we're going there, but with the baby steps. And it's a pain also to see how slow it is happening, but it is happening.
Okay, and just to wrap it up, why baby steps? Because the other challengers in the industry, and I'm not talking the fintech part, I'm talking the technology part, because we see Google, Apple, and so on, they are offering financial services. So why baby steps? Do you think it's...
why banks are doing the
yes.
baby steps? Again, because of the responsibility that we're holding in front of our regulators, okay. Yeah, primarily. So we have all this rails which we have to follow. We just discussed that fintechs want to become the banks, bank want to become fintechs, and this is exactly, it's one wants the size, the other ones wants to have lesser regulation. I think eventually we will have something, the fusion of it, but when? I'll be telling my grandchildren about that, I guess. Hope faster.
Marina, thank you so much for your input.